Chapter 1: The Cottage Secrets. Robert Carne, a weary soul seeking solace from the chaos of the world, had found his refuge in a secluded cottage nestled amidst the rugged embrace of the countryside. The air held a hint of mystery, whispering ancient secrets that danced on the wind, unbeknownst to Carne's unsuspecting heart. As he stepped through the threshold of his new abode, a shiver slithered down his spine, a tremor in the very fabric of his being. The cottage, though quaint and charming, exuded an aura of secrecy, a veil draped over its worn beams and weathered stones. Unbeknownst to Carne, a malevolent presence lurked within its time-worn walls, biding its time until its sinister intentions could be unleashed. With each passing day, Carne settled deeper into the cottage's embrace, drawing comfort from the solitude it provided. But shadows seemed to flicker in the corners of his vision, and an unease settled upon him like a spectral mist. It started with small, subtle signs, an errant creak of the floorboards, a whisper carried on the breeze, innocuous occurrences that nibbled at the edges of his consciousness. Objects took on a life of their own, as if imbued with a dormant malevolence. A chair would slightly shift its position when his back was turned, as though mocking him, while the mirror reflected distorted images that twisted and contorted in unsettling ways. Carne's once peaceful abode had become a stage for the eerie theater of the inanimate, and the seed of unease planted in his mind took root, flourishing into a haunting premonition. The walls seemed to hold secrets, their ancient timbers whispering forgotten tales of sorrow and despair. Carne listened in the twilight hours, when the world was cloaked in darkness, straining to discern the voices that echoed through the corridors of time. They were a chorus of lost souls, their sorrow seeping into the very essence of the cottage, etching their mark upon its weathered facade. But Carne, though plagued by doubt and uncertainty, was a man of curiosity and courage. He resisted the urge to flee, drawn instead to the enigma that unfolded around him. With each passing day, his resolve grew stronger, his determination to uncover the truth unwavering. For he knew that within the secrets of the cottage lay the answers to his own restless spirit, and only by confronting the malevolence within could he hope to find solace. Little did Carne know that his journey into the heart of the cottage's secrets would test his sanity and unravel the very fabric of his reality. In the depths of the cottage's darkness, ancient forces conspired, and the boundaries between the living and the spectral would blur, forever altering the course of Carne's fate. In this haunted chapter of his life, Robert Carne would become entwined in a web of secrets and shadows, forever changed by the malevolent presence lurking within the cottage's walls. Chapter 2: Unsettling Encounters. As the days turned into weeks, Robert Carne found himself immersed in a world where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. The cottage, once a sanctuary, now exuded an air of malevolence that hung heavy in the air. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind seemed to conspire against him, fueling his growing anxiety. Strange phenomena escalated, intensifying the eerie atmosphere that enveloped Carne's life. Chairs would shift their positions when his back was turned, as if mocking his very presence. Shadows danced and writhed in the corners of his vision, their ethereal forms taunting him with their elusiveness. The mirror, once a portal to reflection, now became a distorted canvas, warping reality into a grotesque tapestry of unsettling images. Carne's heart pounded with a mix of trepidation and fascination as he witnessed these aberrations. What force could animate the inanimate, bend reality to its sinister will? Doubt gnawed at his mind, whispering malicious suggestions that he was merely a pawn in a game far beyond his understanding. The once familiar and comforting aspects of his cottage now took on an ominous quality. The ticking of the grandfather clock echoed through the rooms, elongated and distorted, as though marking time in a realm untouched by mortal hands. The portraits on the wall seemed to follow Carne's every move with accusing eyes, their painted expressions shifting subtly, revealing secrets long buried within their frames. Carne's anxiety grew with each passing encounter, each unsettling moment that defied logical explanation. He felt an unseen presence lurking just beyond his periphery, its malicious intent palpable in the air. No longer could he dismiss these occurrences as mere tricks of the mind or mere coincidences. There was a malevolence at work, an insidious force that thrived on his fear and uncertainty. His nights were plagued with nightmares, twisted visions of the cottage's secrets and the apparitions that dwelled within. Shadows whispered ancient secrets, their words a cacophony of fragmented memories and forgotten sorrows. Carne became convinced that the cottage itself was a vessel for an otherworldly entity, a conduit for the dark forces that sought to torment his every waking moment. In the dead of night, when the world lay cloaked in darkness, Carne would roam the halls of the cottage, his footsteps muffled by the weight of dread that hung in the air. He ventured into forgotten corners, exploring hidden chambers and secret passageways, desperate to uncover the truth that lay shrouded in the cottage's depths. But with each step, the malevolent force grew stronger, its presence enveloping Carne like a suffocating fog. It fed on his fear, his vulnerability, its power swelling with each flickering candle flame and each rattling gust of wind. Carne's conviction solidified, he was not alone in this battle against the unseen. And if he were to conquer the darkness, he would need to confront the malevolence head-on, even if it meant risking his own sanity and soul. In this unsettling chapter of his existence, Robert Carne found himself teetering on the precipice of madness, his mind a battleground for the forces of light and darkness. The cottage, once a sanctuary, had become a labyrinth of horror, challenging his very perception of reality. And as Carne braced himself for the inevitable confrontation, he knew that the true test of his mettle was yet to come. Chapter 3: Delving into the Past. Driven by an insatiable thirst for answers, Robert Carne embarked on a perilous journey into the depths of the cottage's haunted history. He delved into dusty archives, sought out forgotten whispers passed down through generations, and unraveled a dark tale of betrayal, greed, and tragedy that lay hidden within the annals of time. The threads of the past intertwined with Carne's present experiences, creating an intricate tapestry that hinted at a malevolent presence that had plagued the property for generations. Through faded letters and diaries, he pieced together a mosaic of secrets and whispered rumors that had festered within the cottage's walls. In the dimly lit study, Carne pored over yellowed pages, his fingers trembling with anticipation. He discovered the story of a once thriving family torn asunder by greed and deceit. The patriarch, consumed by avarice, had made a pact with darkness, unleashing an unspeakable evil upon the land. As Carne read, the words seemed to come alive, as if whispered by unseen lips. He felt the weight of the tragedy, the anguish that had seeped into the very foundation of the cottage. The echoes of long-forgotten footsteps resonated in his mind, each one a testament to the suffering that had befallen the previous occupants. In a hidden chamber beneath the cottage, Carne uncovered an old journal belonging to a tormented soul who had once called the place home. The pages were filled with cryptic symbols and half-formed words, a desperate attempt to document the darkness that had enveloped their lives. It became clear that the malevolent presence had not chosen its victims randomly, it preyed upon those consumed by ambition and moral decay. Carne's mind became a battlefield of emotions as he delved deeper into the harrowing tale. He sensed the vengeful spirits of the past watching his every move, their eyes filled with accusation and despair. The cottage itself seemed to conspire against him, the very walls whispering secrets in hushed voices. But despite the mounting terror, Carne refused to be deterred. He knew that the key to his salvation lay hidden within the dark recesses of the cottage's history. With each revelation, he forged a connection with the tortured souls that had come before him, their fates inexplicably intertwined with his own. Night after night, Carne sat by the flickering candlelight, studying the ancient texts and deciphering the cryptic symbols etched into the cottage's walls. He unearthed rituals and incantations that had long been forgotten, desperate measures used by those who had fought against the encroaching darkness. The more Carne learned, the clearer the picture became. His own presence in the cottage was no accident. He was chosen to carry the burden of the past, to face the malevolence that had plagued the property for centuries. He would become the instrument of redemption or the catalyst for eternal damnation. As the moon cast its pale glow over the cottage, Carne felt a surge of determination coursing through his veins. The spirits of the past whispered in his ear, urging him forward, their spectral hands guiding him toward the final confrontation. Armed with knowledge and a resolute spirit, Carne prepared to confront the malevolent force that had haunted the cottage for generations. The battle between light and darkness reached its crescendo, and he knew that only through unwavering courage and sacrifice could he hope to break the cycle of torment and free himself from the clutches of the inescapable evil. In the shadowed depths of the cottage, Robert Carne stood poised on the precipice of destiny, ready to face the darkest secrets that lay buried within its depths. Chapter 4: The Inanimate Rebellion. Within the haunted confines of the cottage, the malevolent influence grew stronger with each passing day. The spirits that lurked in the shadows reveled in their newfound power, manipulating the very fabric of the inanimate objects that adorned the home. Robert Carne, their unwitting victim, found himself caught in the clutches of a relentless assault. The cottage became a battleground where the boundaries between the living and the supernatural blurred. Carne's clothing, once a mere shield against the elements, now betrayed him with every stitch. His shirts constricted around his throat, choking off his breath, while his trousers seemed to tighten their grip, constricting his movement. It was as if the fabric itself had come alive, seeking to bind and suffocate him. Doors that once welcomed him with gentle creaks now turned into instruments of torment. They slammed shut without provocation, their hinges groaning in protest against the unseen force that commanded them. The echoes of their violent collisions reverberated through the empty rooms, leaving Carne in a perpetual state of unease. Whispers, faint and chilling, echoed through the cottage's dim corridors. They danced upon the air like ethereal specters, their sinister voices seeping into Carne's consciousness. The whispers carried secrets from a forgotten era, secrets that gnawed at his sanity and tested the limits of his resilience. In the dead of night, as he lay awake, their haunting words echoed in his mind, a constant reminder of his vulnerability. The walls themselves seemed to watch and listen, their plastered surface a mosaic of silent judgment. Carne's footsteps echoed through the empty rooms, but it was as if the house had developed ears, its walls absorbing the sound and transforming it into a cacophony of eerie echoes. The cottage had become a sentient being, a malevolent entity that reveled in his torment. Carne's sanity teetered on the edge of a precipice. Every creaking floorboard, every flickering candle flame, fueled his descent into madness. He questioned his own perception of reality as the line between the natural and the supernatural blurred. The cottage's relentless assault eroded the pillars of his reason, leaving him adrift in a sea of uncertainty. But even in the face of such relentless torment, Carne clung to a flicker of defiance. He refused to surrender his mind to the malicious whims of the spirits that plagued the cottage. With gritted teeth and a fire in his eyes, he resolved to uncover the source of their power and break free from their clutches. With the remnants of his dwindling sanity, Carne scoured the cottage for clues, desperate to unravel the enigma that held him captive. He retraced the steps of those who had fallen victim to the cottage's malevolence, tracing their stories through faded journals and letters. Each word, each fragment of their shattered lives, became a breadcrumb leading him closer to the heart of the haunting. In the darkest corners of the cottage, Carne discovered symbols etched into the walls, arcane marks that held the key to the supernatural rebellion. Armed with newfound knowledge, he ventured into the realm of rituals and incantations, hoping to uncover a means to banish the spirits that tormented him. The battle between Carne's faltering sanity and the forces of darkness raged on, each side vying for dominion over his soul. The stakes were high, for the cottage demanded his surrender while he fought tooth and nail to retain his humanity. The struggle escalated with every passing moment, pushing him to the limits of his endurance. As Carne braced himself for the final confrontation, he knew that he stood on the precipice of a precarious outcome. Chapter 5: Confronting the Malevolence. Armed with the weight of knowledge and a flickering flame of determination, Robert Carne stood at the threshold of a terrifying confrontation. The cottage, a vessel for the malevolent spirit that dwelled within, seemed to pulse with dark energy, ready to consume him entirely. He knew that he must summon every ounce of courage and every sliver of arcane wisdom he possessed if he were to have any hope of banishing the haunting presence that held him captive. Seeking guidance and a glimmer of hope, Carne embarked on a desperate quest for answers. He sought out those who were versed in the supernatural, those who dared to dance on the fringes of the known world. Paranormal experts with eyes that held secrets and voices that dripped with both caution and curiosity became his companions in this treacherous journey. Together, they delved into the depths of ancient texts and forbidden knowledge, unearthing rituals and incantations that promised liberation from the clutches of the malevolent spirit. The air crackled with anticipation as they whispered ancient words, their voices trembling with equal parts fear and resolve. Carne's hands trembled as he traced the lines of arcane symbols, hoping to unlock their power and harness it against his tormentor. But the spirit fought back, its presence growing stronger and more determined with each passing moment. It seemed to revel in Carne's defiance, feeding off his fear and desperation. Shadows elongated and twisted, merging with the ethereal presence that permeated the very essence of the cottage. It retaliated with a relentless assault, manifesting its fury through poltergeist activity, chilling whispers, and ghastly apparitions that haunted Carne's every waking moment. As Carne delved deeper into the occult, he could feel the weight of the spirit's gaze upon him, its eyes burning with a twisted satisfaction. It recognized his determination as a threat to its dominion, and it unleashed a barrage of psychological torment to undermine his fragile resolve. Nightmares invaded his sleep, each one more vivid and horrifying than the last. The lines between dream and reality blurred, trapping him in a labyrinth of perpetual terror. Yet, amidst the chaos and the mounting peril, Carne refused to yield. His will, though tested, remained unbroken. He was determined to pry open the door that bound him to the malevolent presence and sever the connection that had ensnared his soul. With the weight of destiny upon his shoulders, Carne embarked on a treacherous ritual, the culmination of his arduous journey. He entered the heart of the cottage, a space where the boundary between the natural and the supernatural was at its thinnest. Armed with the words of ancient incantations and the flickering light of a sacred candle, he prepared to face the malevolence head-on. The air crackled with anticipation as Carne's voice, quivering yet resolute, echoed through the haunted halls. The ancient language spilled from his lips, carrying with it a desperate plea for release. The cottage seemed to hold its breath, the very atmosphere pregnant with the possibility of salvation or eternal damnation. But the malevolent spirit fought back, its fury unleashed in a violent surge of supernatural power. The walls trembled, objects levitated, and the air grew thick with a malevolence that threatened to suffocate Carne's every breath. It clawed at his mind, seeking to erode his resolve and claim his sanity as its own. As Carne fought against the onslaught, he could feel his strength waning, his grip on reality slipping. Doubt gnawed at the edges of his consciousness, whispering insidious thoughts of surrender, yet, in his darkest hour, Carne found an ember of determination that flickered within his soul. He summoned the remnants of his courage and pushed back against the suffocating darkness that threatened to engulf him entirely. With a voice strained but unyielding, Carne continued the incantation, channeling the energy of ancient forces that lay dormant within the very fabric of the cottage. His words reverberated through the air, a defiant challenge to the malevolent spirit that held him captive. A burst of blinding light erupted, illuminating the room in a dazzling display of ethereal radiance. Shadows recoiled, their tendrils dissipating under the onslaught of pure, divine energy. The walls groaned, weakened by the expulsion of darkness that had plagued them for centuries. The spirit, now deprived of its source of power, let out a guttural scream that echoed through the cottage. It writhed and twisted, a tempest of fury and despair. But Carne remained steadfast, his will fortified by the resolve to free himself from its clutches. With a final surge of determination, Carne channeled the last remnants of his strength into a spell of banishment. He wove words of release and liberation, commanding the spirit to depart and relinquish its hold on the cottage and his very being. The malevolent presence fought against its impending exile, clinging desperately to the fading echoes of its influence. But it was futile. The power of the incantation surged, its resonance overpowering the spirit's resistance. And in one climactic moment, the cottage trembled, releasing a burst of energy that shattered the ethereal chains that bound Carne. Silence settled upon the cottage, broken only by the sound of Carne's ragged breaths. He stood amidst the remnants of the battle, his body weary but his spirit triumphant. The malevolent presence had been expelled, its hold severed by the strength of his determination and the ancient magic that coursed through his veins. As Carne surveyed the now tranquil cottage, he felt a sense of catharsis wash over him. The burden he had carried for so long had been lifted, and he could finally breathe freely. The scars of the haunting remained, etched deep within his psyche, but he had emerged from the crucible of darkness stronger and more resilient. With the malevolence vanquished, Carne vowed to reclaim his life and restore the cottage to its former tranquility. He set about cleansing the space, purging it of the residual echoes of its haunted past. Each ritual, each symbol of renewal, served as a testament to his victory over the supernatural forces that had sought to claim him. As the final echoes of the haunting dissipated, Carne found solace in the newfound peace that enveloped the cottage. It stood as a testament to his resilience, a sanctuary reclaimed from the clutches of darkness. And as he gazed out upon the world beyond its walls, Carne knew that he had not only saved himself but had also become a guardian against the malevolence that lurked in the shadows. The battle had been fought and won, but Carne understood that the forces of darkness were eternal. He would remain ever vigilant, ready to face any future incursion with the same unyielding resolve. For he knew that the line between the living and the supernatural was delicate, and it was his duty to protect the world from the malevolence that sought to consume it.